This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 256-inch.
On this episode, it's part 3 of our interview with Weird Al's actual close personal friend of over 5 decades, Mike Solton.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
A very happy anniversary to you, Ethan.
Dave, you remembered! Happy anniversary to you, too!
Yep, I sure did. May 3rd, 2007. The first time we met in person at Turning Stone Casino in Verona, New York.
Yes. I remember it like it was 18 years and 11 days ago.
I remember the very first thing you said to me.
Hey, you've got Weird Al tattoos on your legs.
We were inseparable after that.
Oh, we went to shows together. We sat together.
We even shared the same piece of mint-flavored dental floss. The world was our burrito.
Hey, I thought we agreed not to tell people about the dental floss thing, Dave.
Yeah, sorry about that. I mean, to be fair, it was just one really long piece of dental floss.
Yeah, and we didn't actually put it between our teeth.
Ah, memories. I mean, gross! But hey, that's not even the only anniversary we're celebrating.
Of course not! Today, May 14th, 2025, happens to be the 6-year and 6-day anniversary of the day we released our very first episode of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Ah, yes. Appropriately enough, episode 1-inch.
You know, if only we had the foresight to start at episode 1744-inch, then we'd be done with our contractually obligated 2,000 inches worth of episodes.
Oh well, live and learn. We'll have to keep that in mind for the next podcast we do together.
Good idea, Dave. But before we do that, it's time for What's Happening in Weird Al Related News!
The biggest and weirdest Weird Al related news is that we are now less than 1 month away from the launch of Weird Al's Bigger and Weirder 2025 tour.
Things have gotten real, as it's our understanding that rehearsals have started for the tour in Los Angeles, California.
2 photos from the rehearsals have been posted on Facebook by John Bermuda Schwartz so far this month, the first being a group photo of the whole band.
And we mean the whole band. Not only are Weird Al, Bermuda, Steve, Kimo, and Ruben present, the photo also features the brand new members Monique Donnelly, Sheila Gonzalez, Peyton Velligan, and Probin Gregory.
Bermuda also posted a photo taken by Peyton of him and Steve in action during rehearsals.
While it's a great shot, if you look closely, you can see that Bermuda obscured part of the photo before posting it, which he has admitted was to hide any hints regarding which song was being rehearsed.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's gotta be Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast theme song.
No, Dave, it's definitely not that one.
Why do you say that?
Well, they already know how to play it. They don't need to rehearse it.
Oh yeah, good point. While we don't know what songs will be on the tour set list, we do have our own theories, but one song in particular may have been revealed by Weird Al in a recent interview with John Mayer.
Appearing on the SiriusXM show How's Life with John Mayer, Weird Al discussed many topics, including equipment that they are bringing on tour with them.
Among the equipment Weird Al mentioned they were bringing were Segways, which can only mean one thing.
Yes, Weird Al and the band have embraced a new outlook on life that revolves around a stronger focus on self-balance.
Well, I mean, either that, or White and Nerdy will be returning to the set list.
On the last episode, we shared that Weird Al has been added to Riot Fest 2025 in Douglas Park, Chicago, but some more information has been revealed since that episode was recorded.
Namely, WeirdAl.com has been updated to just list Weird Al's appearance as being on September 19th, as opposed to how it was originally listed, the 19th through the 21st, the full dates of the festival.
We have also learned that Emo Phillips will be the MC for the day of the stage where Weird Al is performing. How awesome!
Well, in less awesome news, Those who have purchased tickets to Puddle's Pity Party pre-show VIP meet and greet for the upcoming Bigger and Weirder tour have received notice that the meet and greets have been canceled.
The official cancellation language emailed to buyers stated that the cancellation was for unforeseen logistic challenges and that the show will go on as planned.
The email also assured that all upgrade purchasers will be automatically refunded through Eventbrite for the VIP portion.
We know a lot of our friends and listeners, plus Dave and I, were excited to take part in a Puddle's Pity Party meet and greet, as we have heard they are a ton of fun, so hopefully there will be more chances to meet Puddles in the future.
And in the mess that was the Ticketmaster pre-sale for the Bigger and Weirder tour last year, we ended up with a few extra tickets.
What we are looking to sell currently are 2 individual aisle seats for the legendary Madison Square Garden show in New York City. Both tickets are on the floor, row 24 and 25, one right in front of the other.
The cost we paid for them is $219.30 per ticket, so we are selling them at cost. Please message me or Ethan or email frank@2000inch.com if you're interested in buying either or both.
Now, as we have been trying to sell these tickets, we noticed something really insane going on with Ticketmaster resale, which is where we have them currently listed.
The tickets were $179.50 plus a service fee of $39.80 each, meaning we paid $219.30 for each ticket.
Now, to resell them on Ticketmaster, we had to list them at a price of $258 in order to receive back the $219.30 we paid, because $38.70 in fees are taken by Ticketmaster from that sales price.
Now here's where it gets even worse. If you go on the Ticketmaster website to buy either of our tickets, which we paid $219.30 for, and had to list them at $258, the price you're charged by Ticketmaster is an incredible $296.70.
So all we're trying to say here is, if you'd like to purchase some great tickets to attend Weird Al's historic and not-to-be-missed show in New York City at Madison Square Garden, please message us or email Frank to avoid paying an additional $77.40 per ticket for no reason at all.
I think that's a really good deal.
We should go, Dave. Maybe we should get Frank to buy those tickets from us for us.
In non-tour related news, it appears that a new book about Weird Al may be coming out next year.
Our very own Kenneth Crazy Ken Gwinnett alerted us that several websites, including Penguin Publishing, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, among others, are showing a book called Who is Weird Al Yankovic, scheduled to be released on January 6, 2026.
The book, which will be authored by Wes Lotcher and Who HQ, is part of the illustrated Who Was series of biographies for young readers featuring significant historical figures, including artists, scientists, and world leaders.
According to these websites, the book will be available in paperback, hardcover, ebook, and audio formats, and is available for pre-order right now.
Well, we have some sad news to share. Actress and comedian Ruth Buzzy passed away on May 1st at the age of 88.
Ruth appeared in Weird Al's Gump music video as Gladys Ormsby, sitting on a park bench, of course, playing a character she originated on the comedy variety show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In from 1968 to 1973.
From all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000s Weird Al podcast, Gil and chill in peace, Ruth Buzzy.
And in other sad news, singer-songwriter Jill Sobule passed away at the age of 66, also on May 1st.
Throughout her career, Jill touched many lives, and upon learning of her death, Weird Al shared a tribute to Jill on his Instagram account.
In 2018, Jill shared a video on her social media accounts of Weird Al singing the chorus to her song Almost Great, adding, "He is the nicest person on the planet."
From all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, Gil and chill in peace, Jill Sobule.
Weird Al recently appeared on 2 non-Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcasts recently that are worth mentioning and listening to.
First up, he appeared on the May 1st episode of Choice Words with Samantha Bee.
Now, in the interview, Weird Al reveals how his Facebook account got hacked, and he talks about the upcoming tour and why he turned down an offer from Duran Duran to open for them at Madison Square Garden in 1984.
Weird Al also reveals that he will be appearing on Jimmy Fallon the day after his daughter's graduation and then heading immediately out on tour.
Now, this is a really great interview with Weird Al, so be sure to check it out wherever you listen to podcasts, which is probably where you are listening to us talking right now.
Next up is a fun interview with Weird Al on NPR's Wild Card with Rachel Martin.
Weird Al appears on the May 1st episode and, per the show's format, answers some fun questions he's never been asked before.
Weird Al, of course, talks about his career and his upcoming tour, but he also talks about his very devoted fan base, even calling out those who are tattooed. I wonder who he could be talking about.
Well, we also recommend checking this interview out, two really great ones from Weird Al, on quite a busy day, May 1st.
This episode is brought to you in part by vegan burrito restaurant Burrito, home of the 2-pound, double-wrapped in a quesadilla Burrito, and Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito, your Burrito, and Wizard Burger for mouth-watering, loaded, dare I say beefy, vegan burgers. From Albany to Uranus, Burrito and Wizard Burger feed the hungry with out-of-this-world, plant-based, real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquare.com and wizardburger.com to order ahead.
Weird Al shared an article written by Vulture about an interview Rolling Stone did with comedian John Mulaney this week.
John Mulaney shared his support for Weird Al getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, noting that, quote, Weird Al brought more people to music than is recognized at all.
And great news, you can now unsubscribe from the Fandium email list as the winner of the Weird Al X Las Vegas experience has been announced.
And unless your name is John L. from San Francisco and you already know that you won, well, you didn't win.
And now it's time for what's happening in Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West related news.
The Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West has announced that his new album with David Vito Grigoli, Travelogue, will drop on June 6th.
And while there is no specific release date announced, he has teased that Sounds of Coom, a project he traveled to India to record, will also be out soon.
And now let's check out what's happening in Close Personal Friends of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast related news.
Both Dave and I received our buttons to honor our close personal friend Joe Jaffa, who passed away last year at the age of 33.
Joe was an amazing person, a Weird Al superfan, and a major supporter and friend of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Dave and I will be proudly wearing our buttons to honor the memory of Joe at the concerts we're attending this year.
And it's not too late to get a button. For more details, please see the post shared by John Katz over on our official Facebook group, group.2000inch.com.
And if you wish to donate to the Children's Tumor Foundation in memory of Joe, you can do so by visiting the handy link, tinyurl.com/Joe Jaffa. That's JoeJaffa.
And now it's time to check out what's happening in Ethan Ullman of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast related news. All right, Ethan, when I saw you the other week at the Colin Mockery and Brad Sherwood show in Morristown, New Jersey, you told me that you had some Weird Al related stories to tell me.
That's right, Dave. But of course, due to the Canadian broadcasting standards and practices related to podcasts, I am not allowed to tell you any such stories outside of the confines of our podcast recording studio.
With the exception of when we were both in Chilliwack, British Columbia during a leap year in which the groundhog saw his shadow.
Yes, everybody knows.
Well, that was a really fun show. Getting to see Brad Sherwood and Colin Mockery, they had me in stitches. I absolutely loved it. And of course, you were generous enough to let me meet both of them after the show. And what was pretty cool about it is that you and I were not the only Weird Al fans there. Of course, my wife Jackie was there, and our good friend Dan Pasternak, super Weird Al fan, was there, and a few other Weird Al fans we ran into as well.
Now, and also that weekend, in addition to, some of our other friends and listeners, Dave, I had the pleasure of seeing world champion accordion player and past guest of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, Corey Pesaturo.
So was that the story?
Well, actually, no. I saw Corey after I saw you guys, Dave.
So then what's the story?
Well, Dave, you remember when we saw Weird Al in New London, Connecticut, back on the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised Vanity Tour, right?
Absolutely. I could not forget that show.
Well, I was at that venue with Colin and Brad, and we are in the green room before the show, and whose signature do I spot on the wall but Weird Al Yankovic?
Well, of course you would notice that signature.
Well, of course. I'm there with Colin and Brad, and they're also performing at this venue, so I suggested to Colin and Brad, hey, you guys should sign the wall near where Weird Al signed. So, Colin goes up, he signs his name, and then Brad goes up and he sees where Colin had signed, so he signs his name, and then I didn't see them actually sign it, but I came back in later and I looked at the wall, and next to their signatures, Brad put an arrow from his name, an arrow from Colin's name, and an arrow from Weird Al's name pointing to Ethan. So he decided to create a Venn diagram of the three people who were signing that wall.
Wow, absolutely amazing. You know what? You should post a picture of that over in our group.2000inch.com.
That is a great idea, Dave. Of course, I'll have to have intern Frank post that for me.
Now, you said you had some Weird Al related stories to tell me, so what's the other story?
All right, Dave. This one is pretty stinking majestic, and it's been hard for me not to tell you because, like I said, it's pretty stinking majestic. So we all know that Weird Al was recently at the Huntsville, Alabama Comic and Pop Culture Expo, right?
Yes.
So helping him at that Comic-Con was our good friend and past guest of the podcast, Marnie Farlow.
Oh, very nice. I'm glad Marnie got together with Weird Al.
So one night during the convention, Marnie messages me and tells me that her and Weird Al ran into none other than William Shatner at the convention.
I think listeners of our podcast know that you produce a tour with William Shatner.
Yes, so sometimes I'm on the road with William Shatner. So obviously William Shatner and Weird Al have met before, but William Shatner sees Weird Al and immediately he's like, there's this guy, Mills, and Al goes, Mike Mills? And Shatner goes, no, I mean, there is a Mike Mills. No, this guy, Ullman Mills, he goes on tour with me and he loves you. And Al goes, oh, Ethan Ullman. And Bill Shatner goes, Ethan, yes, Ethan, he loves you. He follows you all around. That's crazy. It's so wild. Does he really go to all of those shows, Al? Al says, yes, he sure does. We know him well.
Yes, Weird Al knows you well, and William Shatner knows you well also. You go to so many shows. I love that happened. I'm so glad that Marnie shared that with you.
It was just so incredible, Dave. And I guess afterwards, Al turned to Marnie and he said, Ethan would have gotten a kick out of that. And Al is so right. I definitely did. Dave, can you imagine if we could go back in time and we could tell like a 13-year-old or a 10-year-old Ethan Ullman that one day Weird Al and William Shatner would run into each other and then talk about me? Insane.
I think I know how you would react. You'd say, yeah, I can believe that.
Well, Dave, with all of the news and the stories out of the way, I think it's time for us to pick up on part 3 of our interview with the great Mike Solton, already in progress, where we left off 2 inches ago, back on episode 254-inch. I'm curious about what perhaps would be maybe the first time you ever saw Al perform. Was he Weird Al at that point, or did you ever see him do like an open mic or something in Linwood when you guys were in high school?
Well, the first time really, I guess you could say I saw Al performing, he was on the speech team. So I would go to his house and he would practice his speeches.
Right.
And so he was like in, a speech competition. I think he won as well. And so I got to see him do that. I think at Linwood High, he did one of his speeches there. So that was probably the first time. And as far as seeing him, you were asking me like in some of those clubs or at his very beginning stages, did I say?
Yeah, like actually performing music, I guess, would be the...
Oh, music. I don't think so. I think my recollection of one of the first times I saw him play was at the Not Scary Farm.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played there. I think it was with Elvira was playing there. And that must have been maybe,
Cool.
what was it, maybe early 80s?
Yeah, I want to say 1981 off the top of my head.
Yeah, you would know, Dave. You know everything.
What was it like watching, your childhood friend turn into a celebrity? Can you kind of just walk us through, like, I'm assuming you're happy for him as these things are happening to him, as he's, gets a record deal, as he, wins a Grammy, and so forth. From your perspective, how are you seeing Weird Al grow over those years?
Well, it was sort of, it started slow, but boy, did it pick up. And it's sort of, I have a strange feeling when I see Al perform, especially now, not as much back then when, he wasn't filling up like
stadiums,
Madison Square Garden, stadium,
right,
15,000 people. But I do have, like, when I see him now in concert, it's almost like two Als, because when we get together and go have lunch and talk and reminisce, he's like the same old Al. There's no ego, there's no pretentiousness, there's no I'm better than you. It's just, the same old Al. But when I see him with thousands of people, knowing all the words to his song, going crazy for him, and it just feels like a different person.
I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Yeah, it's really a strange feeling. And of course, seeing him get his star.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Hollywood Walk of Fame.
That's right. You were there. That's right, Mike. I remember seeing you at the star ceremony.
Yeah, I saw you as well. But just seeing the thousands of people and, people, just singing the songs and going crazy for him. And wow, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, how cool.
And I'm gonna struggle to articulate this, but I think what's extra unique about Al is he's not like other celebrities in the sense that there's no like apples to apples with Al and anyone else. There's no one who I can think of that is sort of in that niche of like this comedy music, the way that he is, and has become this icon in the industry for musicians and for comedians. And, even with his film and TV stuff, it's sort of remarkable that you're not only seeing Al become a celebrity, but you're seeing him become this iconic, like, fixture of American culture and pop culture in general. And I think that's just, it's got to be even stranger to witness from your perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty incredible.
So I mean, obviously, over the years, you know Steve and Jim and probably Ruben and Bermuda. When did you first meet these guys, and what was sort of your interaction with meeting Al's band?
Well, that would have probably been one of the first times that I saw Al in concert. So it would have probably been the Missing Person show.
You were at the Missing Person show?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wow. So that was April 9th, 1982 at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. And that would have been the third ever show with Steve and Jim performing with them.
Okay. Yeah. Seems like yesterday.
Well, that is an infamous show, of course, in the lore of Weird Al. What do you remember from that show?
I do remember him sort of getting booed off and people throwing things, and it was actually very depressing.
Yeah.
But it certainly was a mismatch, that's for sure.
Right.
But so, just through the years, going backstage and meeting the band, and then a little bit later, I'll tell you the story of, in particular, Steve J, because I had some interaction with him.
Oh, nice.
So we get to that part of the chronology.
I'm excited. I love the tease.
About the Steve J interaction.
Yes.
So after graduating, I worked at Rockwell International in the Space Shuttle program as a financial analyst, paying the bills, and I got a little tired of it. So I decided, I had that party line experience, and there was a way to finally make some money at it. And back in the 80s, there was something called a 976 phone number, kind of like a 900 number. You call the phone number, and people would pay $2, and you could get connected to a live party line. So there could be eight people talking at once without the annoying busy signal.
But you had to pay money to get rid of that busy signal.
You had to pay $2 to get rid of it. But it was worth it.
What year was this? I'm trying to, in my head, do the conversion of what $2 then would have been today.
I say, yeah, it was I believe it was 1987 or 8.
Okay. I'm going to do the inflation calculator.
Oh yeah. So it must be like $200 now or something.
Right. $2 in 1987 is the equivalent of like $5.50 in today's money. So,
okay.
That's a significant amount of money.
Yeah, it's significant. So my brother, he created this conference machine for me, and that would connect the people together. And so that's the business I started. And Al at the beginning, again, it was late 80s. So to promote the line, I did a radio spot, and Al and I did a rap.
Oh.
It's the 976-2522 rap, which 2522 spells out BLAB on your telephone dial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you guys were rapping this is a song?
Yeah, it's like, for example, if you're looking for a woman, looking for a man, you can meet them all in telephone land at 976-2522.
Did you write it, or did you and Al collaborate on the writing of it?
We probably collaborated. I don't remember. I don't know.
You would share royalties on it. Is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
That's right. Keep those checks coming.
That's right. Wow.
And at what point in Weird Al's career is this? This is still like, is he an established superstar at this point?
Yes, because it would have been in the late 80s. I think probably about the time I started it, the 87, 88, somewhere around there.
That's late in Al's career. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because he's already won a Grammy by that point. Yeah.
Right. Al was Weird Al at that point. I mean, Ida had come out. He'd won a Grammy. Was that part of the reason Al was on the commercial? People are like, hey, Weird Al likes this. I'll like it too.
No. He I don't think Al wanted to be associated with that, really.
Oh, so he just did it for fun.
He just did it as a favor to me. Yeah.
Cool.
He still was very, very humble and down to earth even after his celebrity. So
yeah.
So I can testify for that. The fame didn't go to his head, so it wasn't like, well, I mean, I don't think I can, participate in such a menial. Yeah,
you're right.
But yeah, no, he was great. So yeah, that
wow.
was fun. And if you want, you can hear it.
What? How?
I just happen to have a digitized copy right here. And it goes something like this.
John, I'm bored. There's never anything to do.
Somebody's at the door. I'll get it. I got a number to call when you're feeling blue. It's 976-2522.
Bad guys and girls that'll talk to you at 976-2522.
It's the party land sensation that's sweeping across the nation at 976-2522.
If you wanna find a party
or something to do,
call 976-2522.
You wanna find the woman, you wanna find the man, they're waiting for you in telephone land at
976-2522. 976-2522. You get all this fun and much, much more for just $2 plus any toll. That was the worst rhyme I've ever heard. John, what are you doing with that phone?
I'm gonna call right now. What was that number again? 976-2522.
976-2522.
976-2522.
Wow. There you have it, listeners of Dave and Ethan's 2000 Weird Al podcast. We can't really say it's the world premiere, but it's the first time in many, many years that people have heard this 976-2522 rap from our guest, Mike Solton, and Weird Al's 976 Blab hotline.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Wow, I feel so privileged to hear this Weird Al rarity that I didn't even know existed before today.
It's a one of a kind.
So was this 976-2522 rap the only time that Weird Al collaborated with you on this hotline?
Well, he also directed one of my first TV ads. We filmed it on the beach, and Al was the
Wow.
director.
Wow. Around when was that? Was this the first time Al directed something?
Possibly. I mean, it was 80, probably 88, I would say. My guess would be around 88.
Well, I mean, there's the
Wow.
Christmas at Ground Zero video that came out in, what was it, '86, which he directed. But I mean, this is very
that's true.
early on in Weird Al's directorial career.
Right.
He hasn't really directed too much of anything at this point. That's pretty cool, Mike. So what was this
Yeah.
commercial, this video about?
Well, that day, Al actually directed 2 commercials.
Oh.
So, yeah, I was in the first commercial. So I was walking on the beach and I heard this mysterious genie's voice. And I was told that I could get one wish.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I said, I wish I could meet a beautiful girl. And then the sand rumbled and a phone pops out of the sand. You know,
Wow.
you know those old school phones with the touch tone buttons?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not an iPhone.
Right. This was of course the late 80s.
Yeah, exactly. So where they said, call the Blab line at 976 Blab. You can meet guys and girls, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that wasn't the usual late night 976 TV ad. It was a little bit off the wall.
I love it. Okay, so you're in the first commercial. What is the second commercial?
I don't remember all the details of the second, but basically it was a beautiful girl on the beach, and she picks up a seashell and she listens, and then she gets some information about the Blab line. So it's transmitted through the seashell.
Incredible.
Wow.
Amazing technology back then.
Yeah, so that's some great technology for the late '80s.
That's
Seashell
right.
phones.
Yeah.
It wasn't a smart shell. It was, back in the 80s, as we said. So it was a
No, not a
touch
smart
tone shell.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The only other thing I remember about that day is it was getting close to sunset, and Al knew we were running out of time. So I remember we were sort of on the clock and we were trying to get our last shots in of the day. But it was like a good 4 or 5 hour shoot, as I recall.
Oh, wow. Was there a full crew, or was it just you and Al and this lady on the
No,
beach?
No, we got a local cable crew.
Oh, wow.
So, so you got, the cameraman, sound man, and maybe one other person, and Al.
That's so cool.
That was
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah. It was guerrilla style on the beach.
So in these commercials, was Al any of the cameos? Was he the genie or anything? Or was he just strictly behind the camera?
He was strictly behind the camera directing.
Wow. That is wild to me. And I think part of me is also wondering, so this was not just a hobby the way that the joke line was. This was your actual job. I mean, the fact that
Yes, this was a real business. Like I said, people would get charged $2 every time they called, and we got thousands and thousands of callers. So yeah,
wow.
It was a pretty lucrative business.
So Mike, this party hotline business, this is your full-time job. Was it
Yes.
specific to Southern California, or was this a national, across the country thing that people are calling into?
Yeah, 976. The 976 numbers were just local numbers for the, I think, Southern California area. However, when 900 numbers came out, you could have a national 900 party line.
Wow. Okay.
So later I started the 900 party lines as well.
So you had to re-record the rap, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right. I had to re-record the rap, right?
And do we have that re-recording to play?
No.
Okay. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So that was cool. So
Yeah,
Al
really cool.
helped along with some of that stuff. So then here's sort of the Steve J
yes,
connection.
please.
Yeah.
So then I wrote with a few friends a screenplay about the party line experience, all the crazy people that were on there, and in particular, one guy's search for love on the party lines. And our original title was Party Line the Movie. And then I got a film distributor called Troma out of New York.
Wow. Yeah. Trauma is a big deal.
Yeah, they changed the name to Dialing for Dingbats was their name, and it was shown on the
Oh,
USA
cool.
Network TV show Up All Night with Gilbert Gottfried and
Yeah, I remember
Rhonda
that show.
Shear. They were the hosts.
Wow.
We do, really? Okay. Yeah, they'd sort of make fun of B movies, and mine was one of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So this the Steve J connection is Steve ended up scoring the movie and then
Oh,
wrote the
how
theme song.
awesome.
Wow. So how did that come to be? Now, obviously you knew Steve just through Al. Did you approach Steve on it, or how did that come about?
I'm sure I must have asked Al if Steve would be interested.
Mhm.
And this was a long time ago, so I know Steve's done a lot of different things, but I don't think probably back then he had scored a movie.
Okay. Wow.
So maybe one of his big first
Yeah, how
adventures
cool.
like that. And you can hear the theme song if you want. If you find the movie Dialing for Dingbats, if you go to the end of the movie, you'll hear the theme song.
Very cool. And I actually have looked it up, and you can watch Dialing for Dingbats. It is available for rent or purchase on Amazon Prime. And I believe you can also watch it with commercials if you go to like Tubi, one of those like streaming or Fossum. There's these different services like that. So it's still out there. That's incredible. So you wrote the film, and Steve got on, and it sounds like it made its rounds as sort of like the B movie. And I mean, having Troma and Lloyd Kaufman be involved is very cool to have.
Yeah, it was pretty good because I was no way a trained screenwriter, but I got a hold of a few friends, and one of the guys, Peter Slazchek, he had just graduated film school, and so he was able to get a lot of his friends who also graduated from film school, for the crew to kind of,
Okay.
because
Cool.
it was yeah, in Pasadena Art School. So it was, it was a low budget movie, so we were trying to scrimping on our cast and crew.
And so, I mean, aside from the obvious Steve J connection, so Al wasn't involved in this film at all?
No, but coincidentally, my film was released. It was 1989. I think
Oh.
that's about the year
Yeah.
I was doing
Tough
UHF.
competition that year. Yeah, you had
Right. I said, "Well, Al, I'm competitive too. You did a movie, now I got to do a movie."
So I know, UHF notoriously did not smash any box office records. Did Dialing for Dingbats overtake UHF in the box office sales?
Yeah, I don't think so. 'Cause
No.
we were actually never in an actual movie theater.
Oh,
Only
okay.
Okay.
Only late night TV. But we smashed the records for Up All Night.
Oh,
so.
That's
course.
cool. That's very cool.
Mike, and I love how your career started with this Zygot joke line, and then eventually into these 976, 900 numbers, and then into a full blown movie all about these phone lines. I love that arc there.
Yeah, it all ties together.
Did the movie ever, as far as you know, come out on like DVD or Blu-ray? Is it something that collectors like Dave and I would be able to track down?
I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. But as far as I know, it didn't.
Okay.
I know it was on the Troma has a website, and they have all their films on there, including Dialing for Dingbats, and some of their stuff, like The Toxic Avenger, which is one of their classic films. I'm pretty sure that's available on DVD, but I don't think they released all their titles on DVD or
Okay.
Blu-ray.
Well, something for us to track down, or maybe start a
Yeah.
petition. I mean, Dave, you got Weird Al the Star. Maybe you can get Mike Dialing for Dingbats on DVD.
I think I got a new project now.
Yeah, you get a new mission.
I got a new mission.
So that wasn't your only film, though. You ended up working on a number of films over your career.
I've done a total of 3 feature films where I wrote and produced. The last one I did
Wow.
was in Tokyo, called Love in Tokyo.
Oh, cool.
And it was a romantic comedy, sort of updated from the Dialing for Dingbats thing, because that thing was about a guy's search for romance on the party lines. And Love in Tokyo is a guy who, he's lonely. he's a sushi blogger in LA, and he gets transferred to Tokyo for his job. And he ends up using some of the websites to try to meet somebody. So he meets a lot of bizarre characters on some of the dating websites. But his true romance comes when he meets this singer at a bar, and she's actually a real singer in Tokyo. She plays guitar and sings. She's got a great voice, and she's somewhat known in Japan.
Oh, wow.
Did you actually work with her at all on the music?
Well, she and I wrote the theme song called Connection, and it was a lot of fun collaborating with her because I got to write the English lyrics, and then she wrote the Japanese lyrics and the music, and she scored the movie.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
movie.
Cool.
And we made this music video to promote the movie. And if you ever want to watch the music video, it's on YouTube. You just search for Love in Tokyo Connection.
Very cool.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
So that video is out there, but can we also watch the film? Is that somewhere available?
You can watch that one as well. It's online at a local internet near you. Just search for Love in Tokyo, and you can find it all over the place.
Awesome. And let's just say, Mike, you said 3 movies, right? And, 3 feature films. Weird Al has UHF and Weird Al Yankovic Story. By my count, that's 2 feature films. I know it's not a competition, but,
I know, but
who's got 3 feature films out there?
Yeah, 3-2.
Your move, Al.
But who's counting? The second film I did was a film called Lost in Buenos Aires, and actually that film originally it was supposed to be a documentary. There's a woman, she unfortunately has passed away, but there was a famous woman in Buenos Aires, Argentina, who did a lot of great charity work, and she lived on the streets of Buenos Aires, and then she raised herself up and started a charity for homeless women and children. And she had a very interesting story, and I thought it would be great to tell her story. So that was my idea. And when I got to Argentina, she had changed her mind because I had an initial production company, and I didn't use them, and I ended up going with this other company. Well, I guess the initial production company kind of badmouthed the whole project, and so she thought, no, I don't want to do it. So since I was all the way there and had a whole crew ready to go, we wrote another movie called Lost in Buenos Aires, and I ended up being the main character in that one.
Oh, cool.
How cool.
And it's a mockumentary about a guy who lives in LA, and he seemingly has everything. He's got a good job and a nice car and good friends, and he runs a website for food, a dining guide.
Okay.
But he's kind of like a lot of people in LA, you've got a lot of things, but you're just not quite happy. You always want more.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up moving to Buenos Aires and starting a dining guide there, thinking he's going to make it big. And then this is around 2008, and the stock market crashes. He loses everything he has, and he's homeless on the streets of Buenos Aires.
Wow.
And to see the ending, you have to watch it.
Wow, I guess we'll have to watch it. It looks like that one is also on, Amazon Prime to purchase, and Tubi and Plex. So, wow, that's so cool. We're gonna have to do a movie marathon, Dave,
I think so.
and catch up on all of Mike's 3 films.
Sort of have done that as a hobby.
That's such a cool hobby.
Well, I recently wrote a new romantic comedy screenplay with the same screenwriter who helped me write Love in Tokyo, Peter Harmon. And so we're kind of shopping it around and seeing if we can get it produced. So I hope we can, and this one would be a lot of fun as well. So,
well, if anybody listening happens to have a ton of extra money and are producers in Hollywood, I suggest that you get in touch with Mike, get this movie made, and Mike, follow me here. If it does happen through one of our listeners, can Dave and I play tough bikers in your movie?
Oh, I have to write that in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You heard it here, folks.
Sounds like a deal.
Now, one thing that we haven't really covered yet is Al did some stuff for you, but you've also done some stuff for Al.
Yes.
there are a number of Weird Al songs that you contributed to, and I believe you also had some cameos. I would love to talk about some of those.
Yeah, I was I did the Gotta Boogie song, and I think we recorded it at Al's apartment on Gramercy Place. That's my recollection.
Okay.
This is the Gotta Boogie. This is the original version of Gotta Boogie, the one Joel Miller's on there, Sulu, Damascus,
Yes.
and a few other
Yes.
people doing background vocals. So this one, Gotta Boogie, the original version, not the album version, but the original version. How very cool. So what can you tell us about what you remember? I mean, you started to go in a little bit where you recorded it, but what else do you remember about the Gotta Boogie?
Unfortunately, I don't remember much. I think, what was that, like 82 or 83 or something? It was pretty long time ago.
So yeah, so this was recorded in April 1980, and I know according to Jeff's incredible Demented Music Database website, submitted on April 30th, 1980, and first aired on KMET May 18th, 1980, and of course later released on the infamous Placebo EP, February 1981. And of course, released as the B-side of Another One Rides the Bus on TK Records, also in February 1981. And eventually, Dr. Demento's Basement Tapes has been played on the Dr. Demento show several times.
That's incredible. I mean, so technically, Mike, you are on the first song recorded for the Placebo EP, which is, the first, real commercial Weird Al release. And so that is incredible. How did it
another first?
How did it come about that you were involved in this recording with all these folks? Did you happen to be at Al's apartment and he's like, "Hey, while you guys are here," or, did he invite you over with that in mind?
Yeah, I think he just gathered up a few of his close friends who he thought could help out. And, back then he wasn't paying any professional people. So it was just the motley crew.
That's right.
Yes. Very cool. I guess while we're speaking about the Placebo EP, what do you remember about the release of that? So it came out February-ish of 1981. Did you purchase one? Did Al give you one? Did you help fold any of the covers?
Help print the record? No, I'm sure he gave me one. He gave me most of his records or books or whatever he's done. He's always been very generous and sent me a copy. So I have one somewhere, probably somewhere in a box in the garage. Rotting away.
Mike, it sounds like maybe Dave and I should come over and help you organize. And
listen, if you kept the registration for the Belvedere, Plymouth Belvedere, it's not even your car. I'm sure you've still got the Placebo EP somewhere in your collection.
You probably got some really cool stuff that you forgot about.
I don't throw much out.
Well, hey, open invite, Mike. I'm open inviting ourselves, Mike, to. We will help you organize and go through stuff, and lighten the load for you. We'll take it off your hands.
You'll be my rummage team.
That's right.
Okay.
We also talked about Pico and Repulsiva, but there is another it's not unreleased song that you and Al collaborated on. It's called Cheerios. It's a parody of Cheerio, Cherry Lips Cheerio by Gordon Wallace, Scrappy Lambert. Mm-hmm. And of course, that song is Dr. Demento's closing theme song, but you appear on vocals on this. And for people who are trying to place it, you can probably find this online if you look hard enough. It's unreleased, but it's kind of out there in the internet. Cheerios, Apple Jacks, Cheerios. What do you remember about that particular song?
All I remember is I believe we recorded it in Al's bedroom.
Okay.
But I don't remember much about it. I remember coming across it years ago, and I thought to myself, did I do that? And then I listened to it, and I could hear my voice. So I said, I guess I did, but yeah, I don't remember much about that really.
That one is an older one. That one was recorded back in 1976, and it was submitted on the same cassette that Weird Al submitted, the School Cafeteria and Leisure Suit Serenade to Dr. Demento.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you don't recall if your dad had any feedback on Cheerios, Apple Jacks Cheerios?
As far as I know, he didn't critique that one.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But in addition to what you've uncovered,
Okay.
Dave, I was in several of Al's videos as well. Now, of course, you have to sometimes freeze frame it and go frame by frame. And if you're lucky, you can see me.
We do that anyway, Mike. That's how we watch Weird Al videos.
Okay.
All right. So I was in the I Love Rocky Road video,
Wow.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
which I think was around 83. If you watch the video, you see at the beginning of the video, I'm in a yellow shirt at a booth talking to a couple of women, and then at the very end of the chorus, with the crowd kind of raising up their fists, you can see me there in a yellow shirt. I'm pretty close to the camera there at the end. I just watched it the other day because I forgot where was I?
Yeah.
But if you really wanted to find me in that one, you could. Now, if you wanted to find me in Living with a Hernia,
Okay.
I was there as well. I believe we filmed my scene in Griffith Park, and there's some runners in there and running in a circle, and so I'm one of the runners.
Oh.
But that one,
Oh, cool.
Wow. Okay.
yeah, but that's hard to see because I think it's almost sped up, so it's difficult to find me there. Then I was in Headline News.
Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like there's a lot of Al friends and family making cameos in that one.
Yeah, and I'm in the John Bobbitt scene
Okay.
where Al has the line Mr. Happy was missing, and then it shows a few guys in suits who are in shock. I'm the guy on the right in shock.
I love it.
Wow. Mike, this is incredible that you have these cameos in these iconic Weird Al music videos. How did it work? Did Al just say, "Hey, I need you," or was it just like, "Hey, you can show up if you want"? Did you get paid? Did you get the famous $5 or $1 for doing it?
What? You mean people got paid? Well, I remember, for example, like the Rocky Road video. He would just say, "Do you want to be an extra?"
Yeah.
And I was very upfront about it because he would pretty much tell you, "Look, you're gonna have to wait around all day and all night, and you might not even be in it,
Right.
or you'll be in it for a few seconds." So it wasn't like, I had illusions of grandeur.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know what I'm getting myself into. But I remember that Rocky Road video. We were there a long time until the middle of the night.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a long slog. but no, for all the ones I did, it was just Al saying, "Would you want to be an extra?"
That's so fun. I mean, I think our listeners know that Dave and I would also say yes because we were extras in Weird the Al Yankovic Story, and kind of incredibly, we are pumping our fists during I Love Rocky Road. So we have that incredible connection, Mike, that
okay.
the two film versions of I Love Rocky Road being performed, we are pumping our fists. So that is so
Wow.
cool.
What a connection.
Now,
Talk about obscurity.
now, I think one of the famous stories from the I Live Rocky Road set is that the ice cream was really mashed potatoes. Did you get any of the ice cream? Did you try it? Did you hold any of the ice cream?
Nope, can't say I had a taste.
Okay, too bad.
All right, so other obscurity. So if you watch the Al TV theme song,
Okay,
Yeah.
there's a video of his theme
Yeah.
song. I'm the rocket ship sound effect. So it starts at, and then Al goes in, whoop, and then it goes da 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 da.
Yes.
So I am the you can take a software program and try to match what I just did to confirm it.
I knew I recognized that voice. I knew it.
Yep.
How did that happen?
I don't know. He said, "Did you want to do a rocket ship sound effect?" Okay.
Was it like you were famous for doing your rocket sound effect, or did Al just like try and come up with something that you could do?
No, I think he just needed somebody.
I love that.
So,
Wow.
yeah. So that's a real obscurity.
Love it.
I think if I had that credit to my name, I would just go around and tell everybody in the world that I was the rocket ship noise in Weird Al's Al
Yes.
TV theme. I think that would be like
Right.
that would be on the top line on my resume. I mean, I know 3 feature films. That's impressive. Building a career around joke hotlines and 976 numbers. That's very impressive, Mike. But being the rocket ship voice, I think you need to lead with that next time.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe that's part of Al's inspiration of writing that song, Lame Claim to Fame.
Except this is no lame
No,
claim,
this is not
Mike.
lame.
This is Mike. If you had not known Al as a kid and you didn't have all this, decades of stories with Al, we still would have interviewed you just because you were the guy who did the rocket ship noise. I want you to realize how important that is to us.
My head's starting to swell.
Now, all the listeners are they're getting ready to rewind so they can hear you mimic it. One more time, could you give us your impression of a rocket taking off? Thank you. I'm speechless. This is wow.
It's amazing. What other obscurities can I tell you about? It doesn't. I don't think it gets much more obscure than that.
Okay,
that's going to be hard.
I mean,
to beat.
that's cream of the crop right there, Mike. I mean, that is like after this interview, that's the only thing I'm going to really remember.
Yes. You can just call me Rocket Ship Mike. I was in the behind the scenes interview, but I was in the first cut of it. I watched it, and then
the VH1's behind the music.
Oh, I guess it is behind the music, yeah. And so I was in that, and I saw me in there once, but then they clipped it out, so I guess I didn't make the grade.
Oh.
So anyway.
Well, I'm waiting for the entire Behind the Music episode on Mike Solton for his incredible addition to the Al TV theme song.
Yeah, truly.
VH1 needs to get on that one.
Right. Get on it.
What are they waiting for? That is amazing. And so, I think we mentioned this earlier in the interview 5 days ago when we started, Mike, that,
feels like it.
That, it sounds like the three of us have been in the same room or location a number of times, but we officially met at Weird Al's concert in Hawaii. How often have you seen Al over the years? Do you try and, I guess hit at least one show every tour, or are you like Dave and I and you go to multiple shows every tour? What is your relationship to seeing Al perform live?
Well, every tour I try to see him at least once.
Yeah.
And I've got to see him many, many times through the years. I think the biggest ones were like Hollywood Bowl, Radio City Music Hall. And then Carnegie Hall was like, wow, he made it to Carnegie Hall.
That must be surreal to see the guy, your high school friend that you'd hang out with and record silly little stuff with is on stage at a sold out show at Carnegie Hall. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, just being Weird Al's fan, I was sort of like, I had chills when at that show. So, I mean, that is so cool to be able to have experienced that.
Yeah. So I try to see him at least once a tour. This upcoming tour, I'll see him in Las Vegas and I'll see him in Lake Tahoe. Unfortunately, can't see him in Madison Square Gardens because we'll be traveling.
Oh,
so
bummer.
I'll miss that. It's fun to see him in the big venues, but I'll have to miss that. But anyway, I think the Lake Tahoe show should be kind of fun at Harvey's.
That'll be
Casino.
great. That'll be great.
Yeah.
I think Dave and I are going to both
yeah,
shows that you mentioned.
We'll be at the Lake Tahoe show, and we'll be at the Las Vegas show as well. We'll also be at MSG and a few other shows, but we'll definitely look to meet up with you again there, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We can reminisce about today.
Yes.
We might still be talking to you by the time this tour starts.
You guys ready to go?
June's coming quick.
All right, Mike, we've got to go back to something you said earlier on in the interview. You said you came up with the idea for I Lost on Jeopardy. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, periodically I would give Al a few ideas, and I came up with the idea of I Lost on Jeopardy, and Al liked it right away, so he jumped on it.
Wow, that is incredible. I mean, historically, Al does not accept submissions for ideas, and it's, I've tried to submit my ideas to Weird Al, and I got sent back a form letter that said, this has been disposed of because Weird Al does not accept parody submissions. So you got through the cracks somehow. So I guess you're the exception. You and Madonna are the exceptions to the rule.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, this was in the early 80s, and, I was just getting started. So back then, it was more of a loose kind of a thing. I gave him another idea, which he used, but I don't think it was my original idea, but I think I heard like maybe a DJ mention it or something. And I gave Al the idea of toothless people, even though that's not a big hit.
Oh,
so he ended up using that one as well.
Well, so I guess there's both good ideas and bad ideas, Mike.
Yeah, there's both. But like I said, I think I heard that one somewhere else. So I don't take full credit for that one, but I'll take the I Lost on Jeopardy credit. And then after Al ended up using it, he said he's gonna take me to dinner for it. So I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for that dinner, Al, and the $5.
Right. Yeah. Imagine if you got a writing credit or royalties on that song. You'd be a $100 heir at this point.
At least. Right.
Now, did the idea for I Lost in Jeopardy, did it come up where Al's like, hey, I really want to, do a parody of Greg Kinn, or was it just more like, oh, hey, Al, I've heard this song on the radio. What if you did a version like this? Like, is that more how it happened?
Yes. I just heard the song, and I guess I had an Al moment where I said, how about this?
And do you recall, did you call him up on the phone, or how did you tell him? Do you have any memory of that?
I'm sure we talked on the phone. Yeah.
Did Al run and grab a piece of paper and start scribbling, or?
Yeah, I don't remember that part, but I know he liked it immediately. So he got writing.
That's incredible.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard some people claim that the resurgence of Jeopardy and the bringing it back with Alex Trebek as the host was in some part due to the popularity of Weird Al's parody. And I'm wondering if, Mike, can we credit Jeopardy coming back and becoming this influential piece of pop culture? Can we credit all of that to you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Of course.
Of course. Why not?
Yeah, that is true. Merv Griffin did say that he actually credits Weird Al's song I Lost on Jeopardy for the resurgence of the brand new Jeopardy that's still running today.
It's incredible. And they keep mentioning Al in the question, so I guess they're trying to pay him back somehow.
Well, there's a new trivia question for next time they have a question. Who came up with the idea for I Lost on Jeopardy? And everyone's going to say, who is Weird Al Yankovic? But our listeners are going to know it is, who is Mike Solton?
That's right.
Going down in history.
Incredible.
Mike, wow. I mean, obviously we're still speechless about the rocket ship noise, but what an incredible life and friendship that you've had for all these years. And I really feel honored that you came to Dave and I to share these stories with us and the Weird Al fans. And I'm just blown away. I mean, everything is just, it's so amazing. You've got such a great memory and have shared some really cool things with us. So we cannot thank you enough for joining us today and taking us down memory lane in the Belvedere cruise.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, we look forward to, digitizing future Zygot tapes, and maybe we can have you back on and listen to some of those together. And, at the very least, we will want you to come back and do some more rocket ship noises, I think.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Wow, what an incredible interview. A huge, huge thank you once again to Mike Solton for joining us on the podcast.
This episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota beautiful, it also celebrates moms.
This past Sunday, residents in Darwin, Minnesota celebrated a little-known holiday called Mother's Day.
According to local Darwin lore, this Mother's Day is a day to honor mothers, motherhood, and the influence mothers have on society.
Now, traditions in Darwin, Minnesota often include simple gestures like a handmade card and breakfast in bed to more elaborate activities like a spa day or a family outing.
Ultimately, the best way for a resident of Darwin, Minnesota to celebrate Mother's Day is to show their mom how much they care and appreciate her.
While it's unclear if this Mother's Day will ever catch on nationally or globally, all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-Inch Weird Al podcast and Discover Darwin Tourism endorse the idea and hope that this local Darwin tradition proliferates.
So visit Darwin, Minnesota on your next Mother's Day celebration expedition. Discover Darwin, more than just the twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to have your mother attempt to visit www.discoverdarwin.biz.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-Inch Weird Al podcast is brought to you absolutely free thanks to our incredible sponsors, Burrito, Wizard Burger, our very own Jackson Scoggins, Discover Darwin, and our very own Kenneth Crazy Ken Gwinnett. Our podcast is also supported by everyone else in our Patreon family, with special thanks to our very own close personal friend level Patreon supporters, Blair, Matt T, Zach, Casper, Scotto Brothers, Ajax, Javier, Ron, UH Jeff, Dana B. and Beaker, Adriana Banana Yugovich, Allison, Casey Killingsworth, Zeb, Kev Mesick, and Bradley KM. Also thank you to Spencer, Vicky DeVries, Rhymes with Cheese, William, Joe, and Summer, as well as everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our Weird Al podcast as heard in the Weird Al Yankovic Story commentary track, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/2000inch. There are awesome benefits like getting your name read on the podcast, your own private RSS feed, which gives you early access to each and every bonus episode, and the self-satisfaction of doing something important with your otherwise pitiful, meaningless existence. And don't forget to check out our official merchandise over at shop.2000inch.com. All proceeds from purchases go directly towards supporting our fine podcast.
And if this Mother's Day thing ever catches on, I think they'll make great Mother's Day gifts.
We love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so be sure to join our Facebook community at group.2000inch.com and visit our Discord server for even more riveting Weird Al and Red Rum Tagudi related conversations. You can find both of them linked on our website, as well as information about past episodes and guests over at 2000inch.com or weirdalpodcast.com.
Keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts so you do not miss a single episode. Not only does subscribing help the podcast, your fingers won't get sticky next time you eat honey directly from the beehive. It's just the right thing to do.
Plus, we also love it when we receive voicemail via official, patent pending, 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline, 347-SPATULA. That number is 347-772-8852. Give it a call or a text, and you might even hear your message in a future episode.
Thank you once again to the amazing Mike Solton for joining us this episode. We'd also like to thank Marnie Farlow, William Shatner, Colin Mockery, Brad Sherwood, the Gregory Brothers, Trevor Son Oakley, Dan Povenmire, Jeff Swampy Marsh, Aaron 3D Henry, Xavier Vanden Nowland, Robert Kyle, Jill Hinton, Jeff Perkins, John Katz, Alexis Adams, Alicia Carney, Johnny O'Hearn, Jeff Morris over at dmdb.org, special guest Jackie Rossi, Dan Pasternak, our moms, Chloe, our very own UH Jeff Nucera, our very own Kenneth Gwinnett, our very own Claire Walsh, and our very own Mike Minnick.
Thank you also to John Bermuda Schwartz, Steve J., Ruben Valtierra, Jay Levy, and the irreplaceable Joe Jaffa. And a big thanks to all of you, our loyal listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters, and sponsors, and everyone else who makes our podcast possible. This episode is dedicated to the memory of Nigel Schwartz. Thank you for choosing Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. And until next time, remember to gill and chill, keep listening to Weird Al, and stay cheesy.
You know, the more I think about it, I really like this Mother's Day thing. Assuming it catches on, what do you think we should do to celebrate our mothers?
Well, how about we take our moms to Bethel, New York on July 13th to see Weird Al's Bigger and Weirder 2025 tour?
I cannot think of a better way to thank our moms for everything they have done and the sacrifices that they have made for us their entire lives, other than to drag them to a Weird Al concert.
Yeah, well, it's either that or we try to sell our extra tickets at exorbitant prices on Ticketmaster resale.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 256-inch.
6 years, 358 episodes, and still kicking!
Just call me Rocket Ship Mike.